Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so real quick. I started designing when I was 16. I ran an agency, a pretty successful one for the better part of 2 decades. I've been a consultant. I'm an executive coach, and I was the global brand and design guy for a $42 billion company. You want to know what the biggest problem as a design leader that I had throughout all of those that was consistent? Just getting people to do things. You're laughing, right? Our biggest problem as design leaders is just getting people to do the shit you want them to do. So, welcome to Influence and Persuasion for Design Leaders. I'm your host, your cruise director, your Sherpa, Andrew LaMonica, and welcome. So, I'm going to break this into 2 different parts. The first part is creating conditions for successful influence. We're going to talk a little bit about leadership. I'm going to talk to you about what is your most valuable influencing asset, and I'm going to talk to you about some common traps. Second part of this, I'm going to talk about tools and tactics. So creating conditions, tools, and tactics. I'm going to tell you just some best practices about influencing, definitely things to do, things not to do, and a framework to kind of put this all together. Okay? That okay? Sound good? Feel good? Everything cool? Great, awesome. So, let me go back a little bit. Some guardrails. It's really important for me to provide value to you. Well, you're carving out time from your schedules, you're paying to be here, I want to give you some really good insights. I tend to be very practical and tactical in what I talk about. For those of you familiar with my chats, everything is very actionable, so you'll be able to kind of do stuff as soon as you leave here. Third thing, it's also really important for me to be inclusive. I know that you spend the day with your peers, and you're in a session, you're talking to a lot of people, some industry leaders, and I'm a pretty significant introvert, so it's really hard for me to raise my hand and ask a question in front of a crowd. It actually terrifies me. So, what I do, good to know some fellow introverts are in the room. Awesome, great. Cheers, man, salute. I'll take a bourbon whenever you're ready. So the being inclusive is really important. So one of the ways I address that is you're going to actually have the opportunity to interact with me through your phones, which is things everybody's comfortable with. So, also, I want to provide a lot of knowledge to you and actionable things with the time I got. So I tend to speak quickly, and there is a ton of content. So here's how I turn that bug into a feature. At the way end of this, I'm going to ask you to contribute some insights. And when you do, you are going to get an entire transcript of what I'm saying. It's about 14 pages of content, plus whatever else comes. So you're going to have a whole lot of information for you to use when you want to use it. Cool. Is that clear? Sound good? Feel good? Great. What I'd like you to do is just answer the first question. There's a couple questions through this thing. You high performers in the group, don't go ahead, just do it one at a time. So first question I'd like you to answer. Now, what are the skill sets, what are the characteristics of a successful leader? Now, for me, it's things like trust, reputation. I got to respect the person I'm doing. Grit, that's a good one. We'll put that in, awesome. Vision, also really important, very cool. I'll give you guys another 10 seconds to throw some stuff in there. Listening, empathy. Empathy always comes up a lot when I do this, nice. Transparency, honesty, all really good things. This feels like a leader that we would want to work for, right? Yeah? Yes? No? Crickets? Bueller? Okay, cool, fantastic, all right. Candor, that was a good one. Credible. Okay, these are all really good things. Awesome. Okay, so the skill sets for successful leadership falls into 4 buckets. People, processes, relationships, and driving business. Okay, so managing people, team building. Can you put the right people together to take care of the job? Developing talent, not just within the design team, but also different parts of the org, that's coaching, that's mentoring. Managing diversity. I think we all understand that diversity and inclusion is a really good thing, delivers better results. Crisis leadership. How are you when there are problems and you got to deal with it? Conflict management. How are you at resolving those problems? Processes. Project management. Are you on time and under budget? Problem solving. This is real versus the cosmetic BS ones. This is also individual problems and problems at a global scale. Customer focused. Are you anticipating their needs? Are you addressing problems? Are you thinking foresight? You have foresight about what they're going to need and want. That's customer focused. The UX people in the audience usually index pretty high on this one. Then relationships, your interpersonal skills. It's basically like, do people like you? Do they like spending time with you? Relationship building, which is something really important and a couple of the other speakers talked about already. Persuasion, which we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today. Negotiation, consensus building. If you're in a digital company, very important. That's how a lot of businesses are driven, by building consensus and a unified vision. Communication. Are you clear? Are you focused? Are you empowering? Are you inspiring? Now, driving business, innovation. Are you recognizing problems and putting steps together to fix them in a good way? Visionary leadership. That's long-term point of view about the business and building that shared vision with your peers. Business acumen, like the regular business fundamentals, but it's also like, can you manage a P&L? Can you do financial modeling? I personally suck at that, but that's a thing. Always learning. That's a thing really important with leaders. Like, are you resting on your laurels, or are you always trying to be better? And then strategic thinking, which is a big thing. It's that long-term competitive differentiation, delivering against business objectives, and like playbooks on how to do it. Okay, 19 skills of successful leadership. It's also a very lovely photo slide, if you were so inclined to take a picture. Now, it's okay. I'm going to go to this. Don't worry, I'm going to put it up in a second. It's okay, don't worry about it. Question number 2. So, how many of those 19 skills do you need to be successful? I'll give you like 10 seconds to figure it out, and I'll throw this back up. Okay. 5 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 19, holding strong. Interesting. You 16 to 19 people, you tend to self-identify as high performers, which is cool. Welcome to the club. We're having jackets made. All right, that's fantastic. All right, so it seems like the high level on this, 70% of you is like in the 5 to 10 range. Truth is, if you are really good at just 3 of these, just 3, your success as a leader improves 50%. The problem is that most designers try to be all things to all people, and you can't do that. It leads to burnout, it slows your growth as a creative leader, and building the foundation of what we're going to talk about today, you're going to be less effective at influencing. So here's a question I know I'm going to get asked at some point, like, what is the skill or what is the bucket that makes you win the game of leadership? Unfortunately, there isn't one. There is no golden snitch that you can get. Studies vary depending on which level you are in your organization, but what I've seen and what a lot of the research says is that just being an authentic leader, like being, of those 19 skills, being the one that's true to you, that's honest and good and reflective of your personality as a leader, that's what's going to make you most effective. So the too long don't read on this one is the authentic leader, the good, the true, the honest. It's going to make you more effective at your job and more successful at influence and persuasion.